Hello, and welcome to the PolyEngine. In the previous video, I've been introducing you to visual programming. In this video, I'm going to talk about syntax and semantics of the source programming in PolyEngine. The PolyEngine contains its own closed procedural programming language called PolyScript source. If you're familiar with the programming in other languages, especially in C or Python, this should be easy for you. If you have never seen a code before, I will try to explain it as best as I can. Also, I suggest you to check out the official documentation of the language. You can find there many useful information, tips and tricks, and also pros and cons of the language. The source programming allows you to make more advanced stuff than visual programming, but this requires some knowledge. So let's start with the syntactic rules. The language itself executes procedurally from top to bottom, line by line, so each line has a specific statement. The compiler will ignore unknown characters or invalid keywords. Each statement has to be exactly written as it's created, so the capital characters and spaces are very important. Blank lines means end of the function, which means that all statements in one function have to be written themselves. Also, you can't use special characters that you can see on the screen, especially for the variable names. Okay, let's get into the source code. Create a new project, uncheck the visual code as we are going to use the source, and go to the polyscripting window. Now we are ready to write the code. The start function is our default function, which starts right on the first line and continues unless we make an empty line. Let's talk about variable declaration. Let's create an integer. You've got a variable type, variable name, and variable value. We don't have to use any ending symbol. The compiler will already know that this is the variable value. Let's make an output with the variable. To mention the variable in the console, we use the add symbol and semicolon at the end of the variable. The results in the console are as expected. Let's make a basic operation. We will declare two integer variables. The operation syntax is as follows. The operations in PolyEngine executes linearly, so there are no mathematical rules yet. Let's output the result, and as we can see, it's correct. But what if we want to call the function that will proceed the operation? To create a function, just choose any empty line, use the dash symbol, and write your function name. Everything that is written under this function is a part of the function. If you make a blank line, it will be the end of the function. So let's copy the code in the function and call it right at the start. Actually, there are two alternatives of how to proceed the functions. We can jump to the function, so the other code below the lines will be skipped, or we can just call the function. The main difference is that if we call the function, the called function will be executed and the compiler index will return to the line where it stopped. Function jump starts with the hashtag symbol and the function call starts with the percentage symbol. If you press compile, you can see the function has been called properly and the operation is alright. Let's talk about conditions. Condition is a process which result might be true or false. The syntax for the condition in PolyScript is as follows. First, we've got the first input, then conditional operator and the second input. We can also use logical operators such as AND and OR. Now we can insert our code inside the curly brackets. We can also use just one line condition, which doesn't require any curly brackets. In this case, we'll use curly brackets and multiple condition lines. Let's say we want to check if the result of our integer is greater than 5. If the result is greater than 5, the console will output the information. Otherwise, nothing will happen and the code will continue. Now, let's create a basic text field in our scene and connect it with the script. Create an object variable and string variable, which will hold the object's text attribute. Additionally, create a button which can be pressed to call a function we will create. Add the function name to the onClick field and to the source code as well. Now let's add AND logical operator to the condition and let's check if the string equals to the specific value. Let's make an equation to the hello. Also, move the code to the new function, cause we want to make this happen only if we press the button. Now, a quick summary. We have created a text field in our scene, an object variable that will hold the text object as a value in our code. Also, we have made our custom function that will be called right away when the button is pressed. Then we have made a string variable that takes the object text attribute. After that, we've got our function with the operation, and we've got the condition which literally says if the integer variable value is greater than 5, and if the string variable value equals to hello. If all is true, compile and let's see. Let's press the button and as you can see, nothing happened, because our condition is false. Now, if I write a hello to the text field and press the button, the console outputs the expected information. Well done. Okay, clear the code and let's talk about the cycle for statement. Cycle for allows you to loop specific lines in the curly brackets. The statement for requires a curly brackets. The syntax for cycle statement in PolyScript is as follows. The first one, we've got a for keyword, then the starting index and the loop count, which also may be the custom integer variable. Let's output something to the console 5 times in a row. Works well. The cycle for can be used in many cases, for example in counting numbers or even in arrays. Arrays in PolyEngine have a special purpose. It's not possible to declare a variable which will hold an array values, but it's possible to declare multiple variables under different array index. It sounds very complicated, but it's really simple. Let me demonstrate. I have created a cycle for that will loop the specific line 6 times in a row. The cycle for contains variable declaration of integer type, which the name will correspond to the actual value of the variable I. The variable I is declared before the cycle for, and its value is increasing by every loop. So after compilation, we will create exactly 6 variables, excluding the I variable. Let's make a test by creating a copy of the cycle for, but the content will be the console output. Hit compile button and let's see. It works. These are the very basics of the PolyScript source. Now let's create something productive, for example the simple drawing program. First of all, let's say I would like to change the brush size and brush color. Let's create some panels and sliders. I have created a few colors with specific onClick function and slider object with limited brush size. Let's put it into the code. Before creating the other functions, we must create a built-in function called update. Thanks to this function, we will be able to run our program every frame. To create the update function, just use dash symbol and write update. Everything below the function will be proceeded every frame. Now we would like to draw by pressing the left mouse button. Let's create a condition and use the mouse down event. The event is just a boolean data type, which means that it returns true or false. To process the draw function, use draw statement. The draw statement allows you to draw pixels on specific location by specific size and color. Let's mention the variables in the draw statement. First of all, we would like to draw on cursor location, so let's add a cursor X and cursor Y values. Then write some value to the size and at the end the color. Just write a color white for now. The program recognizes no colors. As you can see, we can draw. Again, it's a little bit laggy, so let's add the text statement and set the value to 10. Create an object variable of the slider and declare integer RGB variables. But we would like to change the color as well, so let's change our integer variables RGB in the created functions. For each function, assign the variable values to the proper value. For instance, the red color has the highest value in its function, which is the 255. Other variables have 0. Let's test it out. Well done, it just works. But we've got a little problem here. It's a small detail, but it just needs to be fixed. We would like to disable drawing while we are over the slider or even when we click the button. Let's create a boolean in update function which will hold the value if the cursor is over the main window. Put it into the condition and let's see. Now we are talking. Nice one. PolyScript contains plenty of statements and keywords that may be used in any case. All documentation can be found online. These are just really basics and I hope you do now understand the syntax of the PolyEngine, at least the basics. I have tried my best to explain as much as possible the basics of PolyEngine in source programming. In the next video, we will go even deeper into the source programming and I will talk about fundamentals of 3D programming in PolyEngine. We will learn some advanced mathematical functions, make some 3D stuff and so on. Thank you for watching and bye.